Hey guys, thank you for joining me for another online yoga class. So today's class is going to be a short and sweet good morning stretch. So for when we wake up in the morning and we're feeling a little bit tight, I think it's really important that we take a little bit of time to tune in to how are we feeling in the body and also how are we feeling in the mind and the breath. Just taking a short practice to acknowledge these sensations, to calm the mind and reset ourselves and refresh ourselves ready for the day. So I really hope you enjoy this practice. It's going to be primarily on the floor with a short amount of standing sequence. If you need any props, feel free to bring those along as well. I've also had a couple of people asking me about my yoga clothes that I've been wearing in some of the videos. They are from a wonderful brand called Asquith London. They're very eco-friendly, ethical. The trousers that I'm wearing today are bamboo, and the vest top I have underneath is super warm and comforting. So you can use the discount code, I'll put it there, CAT20 for 20% off of their range. They're a really wonderful brand to work with and to try and practice with their clothes. So I hope you get some benefit from using that discount code. I'm also setting up some virtual online Zoom yoga classes, so if you wanted to try any of those out or sample them, there's going to be some updates coming in the next couple of weeks, but you can head over to www.prioryyoga.co.uk and feel free to book your class with me. I really hope you enjoy your practice this morning, today, as you go forward. I wish you peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, and peace in your heart. Namaste. Hi, okay, so we're just going to start today in a child's pose. So just getting comfortable, sit the hips back to the heels, bring the knees either to mat distance apart or you can keep them at hips distance apart. You're going to begin to hinge forward, extend the arms out in front in line with the shoulders, palms nice and flat, fingers spread nice and wide, and then you can release your forehead down towards the earth. If you can't reach the forehead down, you can instead bring it down to a block. Try to press through the tips of the fingers, draw the shoulders away from the ears. If the hips don't reach the heels, you can always roll up a blanket and place that between the hips and the heels. Maybe feeling a nice stretch in the fronts of the legs. Maybe feeling it in the inner thighs. Maybe even feeling it in the tops of the feet. And then here, try to keep the elbows lifted. So sometimes we drop the elbows down. Instead, try to press through the hands, keep the elbows lifted. Feel the stretch in the underside of the arms. Feel the opening in the chest. And then from here, we're going to move into a side bend. So looking forward, just bring your hands out towards the right, pressing through the palms of the hands again, drop the forehead down towards the earth. And we're still here trying to really extend that left hip back to the left heel. This may deepen the stretch in the left inner thigh. And then there's getting a stretch along the left side of the body, the left ribs as well. Try to breathe deeper here as it feels more restrictive. Try to breathe especially into the left side body. Inhale, coming through center, and then over towards the left. Exhale, release the forehead down, press the right hip back to the right heel. Try to avoid rounding through the upper back and allow that right shoulder to melt down towards the earth. Again, staying strong through the palms of the hands. Deepening the stretch in the right inner thigh, maybe in towards the right rib cage. And try to expand your breath even deeper into the right side of the body. Feel that stretch. Then as we inhale, come back to center, we're going to come into a Anahatasana, heart melting pose, and then a thread the needle from there. So just walk the hands back for a moment, bring the knees together. I'm just going to come back on my mat a little bit. So bring your knees together, you want your hips to be over your heels, feet flat out behind you at hips distance apart. And then from here you're going to walk your hands forward again, similar to how we did in the child's pose, but this time the hips are going to stay lifted. You can release your forehead or your chest down towards the earth. Elbows stay lifted as we extend through the backs of the arms. Try to deepen the breath, keeping that low belly drawn in to help protect the lower back from overarching, and breathing into the rib cage. Feel the collarbone stretching. One more breath. Exhale fully. Then we're going to move into a revolved version of this posture. So bringing the left arm underneath the right, the left ear drops down towards the mat. You can look out towards the left fingertips. Continuing to press through the right hand, keeping the hips stacked over the knees. And try to keep the hips nice and level, continuing to draw the low belly in. Allow the twist to come from the rib cage or the chest and into the neck. Anybody who has lower back pain or SI joint pain, just move very gently here. Make sure you're not feeling strain in your lower back. Inhale, we come through center, press the left hand back. Exhale. Inhale, right arm comes underneath the left, dropping down onto the right shoulder and the right ear, looking towards the left fingertips. Again, trying to keep the pelvis nice and level. Keeping those hips stacked over the knees. And pressing through the left hand. And then as we inhale, come back to center, press back one more time. Keep the hips over the knees. Coming back to a tabletop, bring the hands just in front of the shoulders, the wrists just in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes under, lift those hips up and back to downward facing dog. And just take an opportunity here to opening up again through the front side of the body, pressing through the index finger and the thumb. Make sure the elbow creases are moving towards facing the short edge of the mat. Tricep spin down towards the tricep spin down towards the floor. The shoulder blades draw down and away from the ears. Keep that low belly drawn in to avoid overarching in the lower back. Hips nice and high, sit bones reach up, and then from there you can begin to pedal the feet or press the heels. And then when you're ready, look forward to the space between the hands. In as many steps as you need, we're going to walk forward to a ragdoll. So keeping knees bent, feet hips distance apart, take opposite hand, opposite elbow, and just bring some soft movements into the body. Maybe beginning to bend and straighten one leg at a time. Just take a moment to observe in the body if you're feeling any strain or stress. Acknowledge these places without attaching stories or judgments. And continue to be aware of these sensations throughout your day to day if you can. Not forcing, not straining. But accommodating for this place of tension. And allowing your body to do everything in its power to make it feel more comfortable. And then when you're ready, release a hold of the elbows, staying rooted through the feet, bent through the knees. Very gently begin to roll up the spine, stacking one vertebrae at a time over your hips. Until your chin comes parallel with the floor, samastitihi. Big toes touching with a little bit of space between the heels. Quadriceps engaged, your low belly draws in as your tailbone draws down. Keep the shoulders up and away from the ears as we activate here. We're going to take 3 sun circles. So we're not going to do the full sun salutations this morning. We're just going to do enough to get a nice deep stretch. So as we inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Maybe just bring the arms to parallel, or maybe you can bring the palms of the hands together and begin to look up. Exhale, draw the palms through the center of the heart as we hinge forward from the hips. And the hands down towards the thigh, shins or the earth. Inhale, head up, lengthen the spine. You can bring the palms up the legs. Exhale, we fold, the crown of the head releases down. Inhale, coming all the way back up to standing. Bring the arms up again, circle the arms. Exhale, bring the palms of the hands through heart center. Inhale, extend the arms up, get that deep stretch in the shoulders, low belly draws in. Exhale, bringing the palms through the heart center, hinge forward from the hips. Inhale, head up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, crown of the head releases down, stretching through the backs of the legs. Inhale, coming all the way up, arms up, circle the arms. Exhale, bringing the palms through heart center, shoulders release down. Inhale, circle the arms, palms up. Exhale, palms through heart center as we fold. Inhale, head up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, palms through heart center. 2 more at your own pace now. And when you're finished your last round, coming back through center, release the arms, coming into your Samastitihi, your mountain pose. And then we're going to take a nice hamstring stretch. So we're going to take a pyramid pose or Parsvattanasana, intense side stretch pose. So you're going to bring your right foot to the long ways of the mat. You're going to spread your feet about 3 feet wide. You're going to have your heel to heel alignment, or you can have your feet a little bit wider so that they're more like hips distance apart. And you're going to square off your hips to the short edge of the mat. Inhale, bring the hands to the waist and lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips. Bring the hands down towards the floor, or you can keep them on the waist. You're looking towards the right big toe. So with each inhale, the crown of the head draws away from the tailbone. And with each exhale, maybe we bring the chin a little bit closer towards the shin. Try to square the hips. Right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. Pressing through the outside of the left foot. Left foot's at about 45 degrees. Looking towards the right big toe mound presses firmly into the mat. Try to lift the arches of the right foot. If your hands don't comfortably reach the floor but you're working in this direction, you can always use blocks. But you should be feeling a lovely deep stretch along the back of the right leg. Inhale, head up, lengthen the spine, look forward. Exhale. Inhale, bring the hands to the waist, soft bend in the right knee as we come up. Just alternate the feet. Right toes come to about 45 degrees, left toes face the short edge of the mat. And again, bring the feet wider if you'd like. Inhale, crown of the head draws away from the tailbone. And as we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips. So hands can stay on the waist, or you can bring the hands to the floor, either fingertips, or bring the palms of the hands flat. Or maybe bringing the hands to the blocks. Looking towards the left big toe. Left hip draws back in line with the right. You want to be feeling the stretch in the back of the left leg. You can have a soft bend in the left knee if that feels more accessible to you. And a soft activation of the front of the left leg, the left quadricep. This should help release the back of the left leg, make a more even stretch along the entire length of the left leg. Pressing through the big toe mound of the left foot, lifting the arch of the left foot. And keep that low belly drawn in. This brings awareness to the hip flexors, which is where the forward fold is coming from, and allows our chest to melt a little bit closer towards our knee. Inhale, head up, look forward. Exhale. Inhale, soft bend in the left knee, hands to the waist as we come up. And as we exhale, step forward back to the front of the mat. Moving to our seated sequence. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, bring the hands down towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the chest. Exhale, stepping back to a high plank. Lower down onto your belly, or chaturanga if that's in your practice. Inhale, tops of the feet come flat, lift into baby cobra. Keep the elbows drawn into the ribs, lift the chest. As we exhale, press through the arms. Coming back to downward facing dog, just holding here for a moment. Maybe compare, how do you feel in this downward facing dog compared to your first downward facing dog? And as we inhale, look forward. We're going to come through to a seat. So you can either drop to the shins, sit the heels back, or if you know jumping through, or you're familiar with jumping through, look towards the hands, look just in front of the hands, step or float, to extend the legs out in front. Fantastic. Toes flexed. Bring the hands to the outsides of the hips as we lengthen the spine, lift the chest, crown of the head draws away from the tailbone. Pressing through the hands as we tip the chin slightly down towards the chest. This is Dandasana or staff pose. And then from here, we can stay exactly where we are with the chin tipping slightly towards the chest, lengthening the spine. If you wanted to take it a little bit deeper into the hamstrings and you have the mobility, then you can hinge forward from the hips, take the hands to the thighs, the shins, or the peace fingers around the big toes. Also, if you have a strap, you can take a hold of the strap. On the inhale, the crown of the head draws away from the tailbone, lift the chest, keep the shoulders drawn away from the ears as we look forward. And as we exhale, we hinge from the hips, bringing the chin towards the shin, looking towards the toes, holding here for a few deep breaths. Feeling the stretch in the backs of the legs. Elbows draw down or out to the sides. And try to visualize yourself pressing the backs of the knees into the mat. This activates the tops of the legs, and you can feel maybe even the heels begin to lift off the floor slightly. We have that activation as we open up through the backs of the legs. Try to keep that low belly drawn in and allow the movement to come from the hips as opposed to the lower back. So visualize yourself almost like you're trying to stick your butt out the back so that your sit bones are shooting back behind you, arching in the lower back as opposed to rounding through the upper back in order to take the grip. If you're here working with this, then this is going to be a far more effective stretch than rounding in order to reach the feet. Looking towards the big toes. Inhale, lengthen, lift up, come to a halfway lift with the arms straight. Exhale. And inhale, come all the way back through center. We're going to take a nice hip opening stretch now. So we're going to take a seated version of pigeon pose, Kapotasana. So you're going to bend your right leg, and then you're going to place your right ankle over the left thigh. So just in front of the knee or just above the knee. You want your right toes to be flexed back towards the right knee, and you want your left toes to be flexed back towards the left hip. Okay, so this may feel like enough of a stretch for you. If this feels painful in the knee, just bring the sole of the foot towards the inner thigh and then support the knee with a block underneath your knee instead. If you're working with this, bring the hands to the outside of the hips. Just check in here. You're looking to feel the stretch in the outer right hip or the right inner thigh or the back of the left leg as well. If you're not feeling it here, then maybe begin to bend the left knee. Okay, pressing through the hands. You want to be feeling the stretch now in the right hip. If you're still not feeling it, maybe bring that left foot in a little bit more. But what often happens here is people are like, oh, I don't feel the stretch, and then they bend the knee and then they round through the back. You're not going to feel the stretch if you round through the back. So use your hands as much as you need to help you. Lengthen the spine. You want your sit bones to be planted nice and firmly on the ground. If you find that you can't hold yourself up without the hands, then you may be rounding in the lower back. So use the hands, press through the hands. Lift the crown of the head, lift the chest. Keep those right toes flexed towards the right knee. So this, like pigeon, in our forward fold, this is a really good stretch for the external rotators of the hip joint. This one is slightly less risky to the knee because we don't have gravity pressing on it. So if you're working with pigeon but you find that you can't find a comfortable position without risking the knee, then this is a good variation to take as well. And then when you're ready, softly release the left leg first. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. And then extend the right leg out in front. Shake out the legs. This can feel quite intense, so just shake them out. And then we'll come into that on the other side. So left knee bends, left ankle crosses over the right thigh. Just above the knee, toes flex back towards the left knee. This may feel like enough of a stretch. Remember, you can modify by bringing the sole of the foot towards the inner thigh and the knee to a block instead. If you're not feeling it here, bring the hands to the outside of the hips, bending in the right knee. So again, you want to lengthen through the spine. Imagine that your sit bones are you're trying to stick your butt out the back again, even if visually that doesn't look like it's happening. It's that intention. Feeling the stretch in the outside of the left hip. Really use the arms as a secondary spine. So if the spine is not strong enough to hold you up on its own, really press through the hands. Imagine that you're trying to bring your belly to your thighs and your chest towards your shin. Look forward. Keep those toes flexed. No pain in the knee. One more deep full breath in. Exhale, release the right leg. Draw the left knee to center and release, and shake out the legs. Fantastic. And we're just going to come into a nice little twist. So drawing the right knee in, bring the right foot to the outside of the left knee, bring the right hand to the outside of the right hip. You can take a hold of the right knee with the left hand, or for a slightly deeper twist, place the elbow towards the outside of the knee, palm faces out as we look out over the right shoulder. Deepen the breath. Try to keep the shoulders stacked over the hips and keep the low belly drawn in so that the twist comes from the rib cage and not the lower back. Open through the collarbone. Inhale, look to center. Exhale, unwind, draw the knee into the chest, and then release. Next side, inhale, left knee in. Foot to the outside of the right knee. Use the right hand to draw that knee towards the midline as the left hand comes to the outside of the hips. So yeah, using the strength of the arm to draw the knee inwards. You can stay here or hook the outside of the elbow towards the outside of the left knee. Palm faces out as we look out over the left shoulder. Right leg stays active, right toes flex towards you. Again, using that left arm as a second spine. You don't want to be rounding here, you don't want to be collapsing backwards. Instead, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips. And imagine you're trying to connect your shoulder blades together behind you. Inhale, look to center. Exhale to unwind, draw the left knee in. And release. We're going to come down onto our backs now, Supta Baddha Konasana. Draw the knees in towards the chest. And bring the soles of the feet together. Rest your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly. I recommend here that you softly close your eyes. So this was a quick good morning practice to help stretch the body and set ourselves up ready for the day. Listening to our bodies first thing in the morning to notice any changes, any sensations that we're feeling. Just use this opportunity now to reset the mind, calm the breath, allow your soft, natural, rhythmic breathing now to return to you, releasing the low belly. And I'd like to recommend that you use this opportunity to set yourself an intention for the day. It can be a word or a mantra, a phrase you'd like to bring with you to help keep you calm and stable. Or if you don't want to set yourself an intention, you can just bring your awareness to your breath. Slow, steady inhales and exhales, keeping the mind still and calm. So you can stay in your restorative reclined bound angle for as long as you have the time, or if you would prefer to come into a traditional shavasana, then just extend your legs out long, release your arms alongside the body, and take rest. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. May you be happy and healthy. Today, as you go forward, I wish you peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, and peace in your heart. Namaste.